John. Hey, what's up? What's up? If you shall have me, that's today's live stream. Gotta have faith. Hashtag you gotta have faith. What's up, Day Walk? Man, let me just check, make sure my internet connection is right. Just make sure my internet, sorry, I meant just make sure my internet was. See the birds hanging out in the back. If you shall have me. Last night, I got on super late. I don't know if I just reached that point of exhaustion where you're psychological, you have psychological fatigue. But I could say I'm not looking forward to a lot of the sacrifices that I'm gonna have to make soon. Some that I'm already in. It's really hard to see at times the light at the end of the tunnel, and then sometimes it's really easy to see, you know, all the good. It all depends. What's up, Code? Ut has the code. Is that Ut has the code? I like that. Um, it all depends on the lens you look at it through, but I don't know. I think whenever you are pressed, what's my opinion on this world? I'm about to say something about that actually. That was literally what was coming out of my mouth. Pause, but so there's nothing that people can do externally that's gonna deny like your human instinct, and a part of all of the things that we apply ourselves to, the pressures that we put ourselves under, um, for the world that we understand what somebody created, and we're just playing the game, so to speak. There comes, I think, a lot of the depression and the pain sits within this area, this the conflict of that sits within this one area of when you're being taken advantage of. Some more than others, but so my opinion of the world, that's very generic. Um, I wish the world got it together. I wish the people would realize um, that we share this place along with other species, and we only have one world. It's like having one house, one place to live, and you treat your house in a way because it's your only house. So, Earth is our only house. The people that's on the Earth This is the only house, so we gotta. Well, since we're sharing all of this, we're roommates, world mates. My view is we have to learn how to share better. that Code says the more small roles to play in this world makes me upset because I thought I was special. You are special. You're not only special, but you're perfect, man. The all that was in play for you to be able to type on this platform right now. The amount of junk. Look at this amount of junk that we put in our bodies, and our bodies are able to tolerate it. It all depends on perspective, and it's just my opinion. It all depends on how you look at it in perspective. Um, Now, when you have the opportunity to make a decision that you feel comfortable about, make it. That's not. You saying nobody remembers the people, they just remember the stories. Well, in my purview, what's up, Dimension? In my purview, we're just being obs- we're just energy, and the energy is never gonna die, so to speak. It just transforms. So I don't know if that of your, and I'm not putting these words in your mouth, but if I could read into the perspective that you're bringing to the table, I would say that the need for having a name, live on, legacy, live on through anyone but the people that you created or you're connected to, people that created you. Um, I would say that that's also a psychological thing that we've been informed with, that we've created, we've gravitated to. Look, Big Mama's no more broody. Look at Big Mama. It's like if you take animals, for instance, animals, um, their instincts, pure survival for the most part, especially those who are not predators, pure survival. Um, they have there. A lot of them are not taught. Um, I watch, I watch chickens when they're young, and they hear the sounds and languages of other birds, and they react. They don't react to everyone. They react knowing who's the predator, right? Um, they have instincts, and I think a lot of our instincts, we pretty much work our instincts out of our, our civilization. I'm gonna read this one. Exactly. If I'm simply energy, why do I need to put so much energy into building good relationships, good businesses, earn lots, etc., if ultimately my actual form is a small portion of universe's energy? Um, I don't know if how you end it, whether or not it's a small portion. I don't know if that matters. I think that in this realm, in this dimension, this is all of what you know, and you, at least the way I operate, is that I'm gonna impact others that are around me, the happiness, to share things that I believe in, and sort of like, I don't care for LinkedIn, but it's sort of like how LinkedIn has the level of relationships, like your first class, and then you may know somebody, and then you keep going down the line. In the end, we all are connected to someone that affects someone else that knows everyone else. Like, is this world a game where I play? I don't know how somebody could I don't know how somebody could tell you otherwise. I don't know how someone could tell you otherwise as far as where you have to play a role. Even when you do the opposite of what you said, building good relationships. So say you build bad relationships, you don't start businesses. You just, you know, you burn a lot of money. Um, you're still a part of this world until you're not. So I don't know. Sometimes I sit back and I say, man, it's just a rock floating around, and the perfect conditions created the rock. I get a little sad sometimes. I don't know if I don't feel powerless because I think the magnitude of the game, um, it's still, it's fun in a sense. There's an energy exchange. Do you have feelings? Now, if you had no feelings, if you were cold, if you didn't believe that feelings were natural to your being, see, I don't believe that. I don't even think sometimes that we're fully from here. There are some differences that I see, but then there's a lot that we align with the other species that are here, and um, and then think about it like this, Code. Think about it not just from your perspective. Think about it from the perspective of some of the beings that like they live a day, right? They just bzz, bzz, gone. You know, they they live a day. I say it would be amazing. I don't know how old you are, but it would be amazing to tap into the youth, the energy of youth and adolescence, and apply that to wherever you are in the world. Like it's a game where you need to act like you have feelings emotionally because you care about others without actually diving into those emotions. Uh, it's so hard. Well, you don't have to act, bro. I disagree with that. I don't see the I don't see the basis for acting. I think what I was saying is whenever something is unnatural, that's when it's gonna cause the most friction. So unnatural, being fake, putting on, um, like when some of us go to work, a lot of the feelings, a lot of the transaction is unnatural, and the only basis that makes us continue in that is because of the idea that all of us, this is what we need to do to play the game, so that you could get something back from it. I mean, if we're using the game analogy, um, are you comfortable or not comfortable with what you're getting back? I would think natural does mean go with the flow, but it to me it's a little deeper than that. Some of that sometimes that could be interpreted in different ways. I was listening to something. I don't know if it was some Taoism stuff last week, and it was talking about a statement like that about like going with the flow because what is flow, right? Who all determines what the flow is? In fact, most of us go with the flow because we follow something that was put before us. That's why I'm very careful to leave a gap of room for my kids because I truly believe in this country, um, we we send kids to school to build the workforce to perpetuate the same thing to continue to be competitive enough as a nation. And I guess if you told someone that that's the reason why you go to school, not so that you could become what you need to become or want to become or align with how your cellular makeup expresses itself artistically, um, maybe it'll be something different. Like for me, and make sure I don't get this wrong, but there are people who talk about your life starting way late, like really starting way later than we suspect, like in your 40s, because there's a lot to get out of the way in the early life. Do I speak English? Sometimes, sometimes. That's funny. I don't care if I speak English, especially not here. Communication, I follow sender and a receiver. But code, has the code. I would say, man, it's all good and gravy to ponder. I don't speak Turkish, no. I don't I say it's all gravy to ponder, but there's this one thing that another creator, content creator, I don't know, I'm blanking on his channel name. I haven't been on here that watching as much. Set Apart Gardens. Um, he said, I heard this like a month ago. Now, I don't know if you're religious or spiritual. Um, with all the perfection, whether it's a game or not, I know that there's something that is superior to what's, these aren't accidents to me. A lot of this is not accident. But what he said was, on Judgment Day, are you willing to answer to not fulfilling your gifts? You found your purpose, but everything other than that feels like a chore. You don't like those chores, me neither. Yeah, no, I get you, but you gotta. I mean, maybe. I mean, you say you found your purpose. If the chores, if it feels like chores and it feels lifeless and pointless, then I'd say, you probably haven't gotten to your full self, because going back to the flow thing, I don't want to skip around too much. Set Apart Gardens, he said, about Judgment Day, like, you also owe it to a higher power to maximize on those gifts that were given to you and to maximize on those. And I've always been a person who believes in, mastery, and like, really, I don't care what you do. I love to see people take a craft and be the best at it. I don't think we give enough credit to people who freaking wash windows and clean toilets. But the people who are really good at what they're doing, there's something really, there's something going on there that the rest of us could learn from. Carolyn, what's up? Getting a little deep today, Carolyn. But yeah, I would say, you say you found your purpose. Um, why aren't you able to use what you want the world to look like, what you want your world to look like? Why aren't you willing to make that not a chore? Well, you everything reflects that code. Everything. This is, in my pathways. There's, so like the concept of mindfulness, right? It's like there's being there and there's being there. The internet is giving us a good lesson about being present, because you could be connected to thousands of people and yet not feel the warmth of two people, right? So there's being there and there's being there. Every time I take a walk out, every time I'm here and I'm looking and I let my grass grow intentionally, because the the bees, I'm learning. I still owe it to this game. To me, I still feel indebted to the game, and I haven't lost myself. The friction comes when I'm not in a position where I could learn. When I am doing the mundane task, and most everyone else in the world is saying, "Oh yeah, you got to do, that's what you're supposed to do," without a real reason behind it. I believe your energies will synchronize. I don't, but I don't think that there's a necessarily a blueprint for doing that. I don't think that it has to, you know, studying, job, and family. Trust me, you speaking to me. I feel I'm burnt out from everything that you just mentioned. I am absolutely burnt out, and at the same time, why I wouldn't call it depression is because I still see a glimmer of hope. I'm willing to accept the things that I cannot change, right? So that's we all have our moments. Code in the end, I think it's comforting to be around people where you can articulate how you're feeling at this moment, and maybe the learning doesn't come through words. Maybe it just comes through seeing others, and that's why it's important to have. We talk in permaculture about having different layers of the canopy, but as ourself as spoken beings, we need different layers of the canopy. We need different levels of wisdom and people to reflect upon for both good and bad. Yeah, you do have to. I'm solving a lot of problems based on other people's example, or trying to solve problems, and it's based on other people's examples. There's some look the internet. Who do you know? Right now we're talking. I'm not the person who's gonna give you the elite understanding. I seek. I have a ton of people that I listen to and watch. I'm on the same a similar journey um, of truth. I haven't given up or put myself in any one direction. But the internet, don't discount the fact that and take for granted the fact that one search may give you the exact answer that you're looking for, or open the door up to understanding how the knowledge that you are seeking, but you're probably just based on personality. You're probably just asking uh, not the right question to yourself to unlock that. Like I haven't finished it yet. Pretty sucky about that. But Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act. Are you a creative person? Do you feel the need to express yourself and create? Rick Rubin talks about owing the you owe the world your creation. You owe the world to show what you're about, because even in the game, you're a unique character. You're one of one. Literally, we're all one of one. And so I start getting into that where I feel like I owe something. So while I'm indebted, that helps me to keep going because I gotta pay. I'm paying off that debt. Who I am, what I am, and it isn't always going to give you the answers up front. Sometimes those answers, sometimes they're it takes time. Like we always go back to the whole concept of a tree, right? Like when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Right now. So some of these things they take time, and anything that takes time takes investment. And what are you investing in? You know, find a way to smile. If you're a person who says that you fulfilled, I don't want to mix your words up, but you did say you say you found your purpose, right? Maybe you need to become brave. Don't get too brave now. But you say you found your purpose. To me, that's a very definitive statement. A lot of people, depending on who you are, you may find it and then you find something else. Um, I'm not saying you just got to be happy, and I don't know what you're into personally. Clearly, you have questions. I think you need to go just go around and seek some answers to some really strong doctrine to help you into that next step, to carry you into that next step. See, for me, those are all good questions, man. I like having a conversation. It's actually pretty therapeutic for me right now because I'm struggling with. Um, I just feel like I'm overwhelmed and I'm being taken for granted. Okay, so you say, I'll read it out loud. I like the words, they deep. My purpose is to seek the truth. If God's the truth, if the Creator is the truth, then my purpose is to seek the Creator to know the truth. Well, put it this way: the Creator created you to live, so live the life the best you can. I hear you. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm not telling you how to do it, but a lot of people, they we're so hard and fast on ourselves. You could be so hard on yourself, and then the only thing that's left for you is a hospital. So you got to find a way to love yourself, and out of everything, I love myself. Ups and downs, I love myself, and I know sometimes I'm stubborn and I get in my own way, and I'm honest with that. And maybe what you're going through right now, maybe that could be one of these times that you are you a person that gets in your own way. Most of us are our own worst enemy, but not a lot of us could not a lot of us can come to a point where they can turn it and help themselves. They need others to help them. Is the world really insane? Perfect. You think this solar system is? What do you do for a living? I mean, look at the title of the stream. It's hashtag gotta have faith. So whether you have faith in your family, your friends, your church, people, you're an engineering student. I'm a software engineer. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. Maybe that makes sense because as an engineer, um, everything has to abide to logic. Um, I get that. I get that. I would tell you this as someone who has done more than 15 years uh, as a software engineer. I'm your senior. No, listen though. I'll tell you. Hey, look, I can't tell you where you're gonna end up with it. But as a software engineer, I get no more. I don't get as much pleasure writing code than I do with writing or trying to write things in the environment, because the difference is writing code. The creators are the creators of your languages, your open source tools, and there's a document for it, and there's some sort of APIs. You can follow a guide. Um, you can create something within that, a framework. Um, but when you're out on the land, you're a lot closer to that the truest design, the one that we're not in control of. And when I started to experiment with it, I found software engineering to be amazing. And now it's like, no, it's kind of just par for the course, right? It's just a function. It's just inputs and outputs. It's not the true design. The real design is Mother Nature. So, in Mother Nature, in the way people work with Mother Nature, um, th- that's that's to me my quest is to understand how where I'm gonna land on that, how I'm going to do over time with that. Am I gonna be able to get to a point where that design that I'm able to, I don't say profit off of that design, but have a livelihood off of that design? Because it's been pretty easy to have a livelihood off of writing code. But yep, you're right about that. Well, I'll add to your. No, it's not. It's not that all. In my opinion, it's not that all organizations are unclean. One of the dilemmas. Man, what the hell did that chicken just get? I don't know if that was a spider or a bee, but it's fair game out here. I don't think that all organizations are unclean. And I've been studying this lightly and going through my own experiences. I even started a blog at dlynchtech.com, and a lot of this topic, as I'm going through it, I'm trying to work through it and understand it. The people who usher in the projects are not the people who write the code. Those people seem to be the business, whether they're business savvy, but they're the reason. They feel the need to be the reason for the idea or the service that this is providing or the expansion of the idea. And when you and I go out there and we go find a place, a job to work for, and even though we're very creative, we tend to be very suppressed because companies poorly, and when I say companies, let me just be very clear, there's only two types of companies. There's tech companies and there's companies that use tech. There's tech companies and there's companies that use tech. There aren't that many tech companies. The high 90% are companies that utilize technology. And those companies, they likely won't have the top talent coming from the top schools, and they also don't trust the process. And they're waiting for industry trends to change because when the big people are using this, they trickle it down. They don't know why they're making the technical decisions to accomplish and solve the problems that they do, and they poorly manage technical creatives. I'll give you an example that's personal to me. Happened not too long ago. Um, my company, they're going through some troubles, and there's a little bit of downsizing, and we had to take over another project. Happened to be a WordPress. So here I am. I said I've coded for more than 15 years. I don't even care what the exact number is anymore. And if you look at my resume, which I hope that the company that hires me, I would hope that the people who manage me would have some sort of an awareness to what I know and what I don't know. So a lot of the decisions that were made about the when and the why we were going to do this, bring this new program into our team, was done with the reality that we don't have resources that understand the technology that's coming in. So not only did and most of my resume is PHP. There's some WordPress call outs in there. I've been involved in some projects where I've in on an end-to-end basis have managed uh, publication sites that were on WordPress, million plus um, users a month, And the decisions that were made at my company all were for months. These are decisions that we don't get yet. And when they finally come in, and I got to hear someone out loud, someone who was above me, say, well, we're doing it this way because none of us know WordPress. Hmm? I've made consultant money independently on WordPress. I've been on some pretty nice size. I've been hired by press. So you when you don't manage it doesn't matter what you do. Now it's not a technology problem. When you don't understand what's involved, what you're creating, then you're gonna have issues with being disconnected from the outcomes when the outcomes aren't always positive. And I was really disappointed. And actually, that time I did say something. I said, I know WordPress. You do? Not only do I, but he does as well. So that's where the money is. That's where the waste is. And because organizations have, especially those who aren't tech companies, they have so much waste. So whenever you have waste on a budgetary level, who's supposed to solve waste? They don't come to a technical person and say, how can you do this more efficiently? So they don't want to solve the tech debt so that you could, whenever a request comes in, have a faster answer and 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 be able to do something faster because you don't have to redo it. And that's not a technology problem. That's when that's when you need a plumber, and the plumber comes to your house, and you're gonna get one quote that says I'll do this. You get another quote that says we got to rip out the whole thing. So you're stuck there with that decision. So a lot of times I've observed these places having talented resources, me being a big part of that, and me listening to not being able to use my talents. This is more like 5 or 6 companies, the same story, and that's why I feel the need to write about it. I was having an issue recently as well where we're trying to work through spending less money. So a lot of times you could blanket stuff by words, right? So you say, yeah, we're trying to save on resources. So I was told to move to uh, Graviton, this different AWS image. And it's an Amazon Linux 2023 Graviton. And I was just told, yeah, this is going to save us so much money. And when I heard that, I realized right away. I said, so much money, huh? Okay, well, let's do it. It was 15%. I looked it up, and we only had 3 servers, right? So we were talking about saving 15% on like $50. But when I get it, you go across a whole organization, maybe that's not $50. But when you were talking to me, they're seeing it from a different angle. They're seeing it from being able to say, yeah, we save $50. If you are worried about $50 being saved, one, you would have never survived before this cloud, because the current cloud that we're in, resources are mostly they're internal, and you don't have any to go. You don't have to go to all these external things. You wouldn't have been able to do space and the old VPS model. You wouldn't have been able to do any of that. So you only exist in the way that you do because of AWS, but then you're not or any other cloud, Azure or GCP, but then you're not maximizing on it because you're not maximizing on it because you don't know it and you don't trust the resources of who does know it. Because the resources are me, but I'm not the business. So I got a nice little. I don't know. Sometimes I get a good angle of the sunset. My tripod is a little choppy right now, but thanks for the questions, man. Like I said, you be fine, man. Don't let the world get you. I'll take my own advice too. It's a lot easier. Well, the newbie is a dangerous game in this world, man. So you better get up to speed quick. Don't make too many mistakes. As far as don't overpromise anything. I'm a self-taught engineer, so I've always had a chip on my shoulder because every time I walk in a room, I assume that I don't know stuff, and then I kind of got to convince myself, like, bro, you've been doing it. You've been doing the damn thing. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it could be a cool profession. But back to what you were saying about companies, I think you owe the world your creativity, your side projects. You need to do something. AI is scary, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it comes down to we're in a bubble. We gotta let the bubble burst before we know where things are gonna end up. Um, at one point, I was getting a little annoyed and scared, but if anything, I feel powerless about the whole AI conversation. And because AI, it's not that I wouldn't be needed, it's that, again, it comes down to the mismanagement. And the mismanagement, they get excited over industry trends. And the people who they've always followed at the top, and the people at the top have an investment into this. So what do you, if you only, and I'm serious, like I remember when not everybody's using it now, but what is that? Like Kubernetes. I remember when Kubernetes came in, it's like, oh my God, we gotta do it because it's gonna do this. Meanwhile, Docker, which Docker still has stood the test of time, um, Docker has Swarm. And when you deal with a technology as a so called newbie, this is what helped me. You don't have to know every technology. You have to understand its application to the world. You have to understand like the bounds of it, what I shouldn't be using it for. Like I use Java. Java should not be to produce marketing websites. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So job, and they'll say, "Hey, this is our Java project. You probably shouldn't do that." But they're the business. I look. I'm gonna hold on. I like your message. I'm gonna hold on to. I have books. As long as the computer stays the computer, no one is saying that you can't curve AI. The question is, will you have a job to be able to curve AI, right? So when you say um, many technologies are going to get irrelevant, that's a choice. That's a choice. To think that AI is not going to continue to be pushed on us for monetary gain, that's just the obvious. So we could have better phones, right? But we don't have them because this is what can sell. We could have better TVs. We don't have them because this is what the market can sell. So AI is not going to go too much further than what is could be sold. I'm in New York, man. I'm in the U.S. I'm up in not upstate, but a little north in New York, New York City. Yeah, don't look. I hear you, and I'm not starting from where you are. I kind of stumbled into technology, but personality wise, I think they need people like me, um, helping them to maximize the value of what they're doing. A lot of times when you see companies that are shrinking, that have failed at a lot of things, they overspent and they didn't know what they were doing. And we need less people who have a suit on, who don't understand and just ask questions or don't even ask questions. The way it works, it's always worked. A lot of the people, the business people, they get to go home. They get to go home to their families. Rocks, what's up? They get to go home to their families. And I get to do an all nighter. And all they're waiting for is an update. So you burn all this midnight oil and they wait for an update. There's no way that that's going to end well. A lot of times it feels like giving a developer, a software engineer, programmer, it feels like we get doggy biscuits. Like the thank yous, I can't really take them because if you really listen, we would never be in that. We would never be where we are. What kind of freshers? I don't know what a fresher is. Um, but if you come from any good school, you'll probably get in. Um, I don't know today's game. It used to be having some personal projects. If you could, I would join open source projects just to show, since it's available, just to show your willingness to get involved and get dirty. No, man, you just apply, and the thing that people don't talk about sometimes, you just get lucky. You get lucky to get your foot in the door, and is it gonna make you end up at a company that does tech instead of a tech company? Yeah, probably. But when you start really learning what you're gonna be good at and what you want to work on, I mean, every company calls their code. It's they don't understand the difference. It's just code. He's a coder, and they think what you do is this black box. You ever you'll have the experience of showing non-technical people because they want us. They so I'll tell you how they trap us as a as a industry. If I could just segment the people who code, they want us to work cross functionally because they want us to believe in some sort of project methodology like agile. If you go get some sort of agile certification, you'll be at the front of the list because a lot of businesses, they want you to think agile and they want it to be cross functional. But the problem is always a skills gap because your profession is a highly skill oriented thing, whereas and a lot of it you have to go out there and do and learn and see and fail. You got to go out there and say that you could do something and you can't do it. You got to go out there and learn what you shouldn't be doing at a release when stuff goes live. You have to learn what triggers not to, you know, push. It risks you. I won't trust you. Um, I don't see this as a trusting profession. You shouldn't trust people. If you came to me and you said I need help with this, and you're handing it over to me, that has told me that I don't need to listen to you because you're going to tell me, but I did this and I saw that, and that's what's happening. Well, if you knew what was happening, what's up, CJ? It's been a while, man. You don't see my little house right there? I live right there, CJ. If you knew what was happening, you wouldn't be at my desk. It's that simple. So, trust is a big part of it, developer to developer. Um, so that I have a handful of people I've trusted my whole career. Nice chickens though. Yeah, man. Look, I got my little camping chair now, my little director's seat. Um, but yeah, CJ, we were first talking about just life and feeling like we're in a game, like a simulation. And now that we've discovered that we're both in the engineering track, just trying to give some game on, being an engineer, software engineer. But I think you'll be fine, man. You if you ask questions and you keep your ear to the street. I remember seeing a lot. Got to go now. All right, man. Thanks. Anytime, brother. Anytime. CJ, what's been going on? A couple times in the mirror, like I escaped the Matrix. No, no Matrix here. No Matrix here, man. I'm just tired and trying to keep a smile on my face, and this is one of the ways that I do that. 70 subs. If you catching this on the replay, go sub to my guy. He keeps changing his tag, so I don't want to say it. I don't know why it's not CJ, but that's a whole nother story. Um, yeah, man. I got so much good going on. I'm trying not to feel bad, but look at my garden, CJ. Things looking nice over here, man. Looking nice and green and lush. My past 500, CJ. Can you believe that? 500. Unreal. But the people got what the people wanted. Nah, dude. I don't care. I don't even have a consistent time. I've been streaming. I'll probably stream again later tonight. This is my new way to get positive endorphins. Um, no, it's a new. I was telling Mick the Pick. It's a new. It's a new chapter because I feel like when you first get started like aggressively, you're gonna get your peoples. They come around. Oh yeah, check out my man Darnell, and then you might hit another wave. I hit another wave after I got raided, and then they hung around. The people hung around, and then you get a little bit from the beginning. Hit chickens in the trailer. I don't know what they doing. They gonna extend their time. They curfew is because I'm out here. When the big tickets out here, they don't. Uh, nah, I'm looking on the phone. You calling that joint a trailer? It is what it is. Man, my chickens are chickening. But yeah, and then you go through second chapter. No, I don't. I name them like silly nicknames, but I don't treat them like pets, bro. We in a we're in a we got an agreement. Those are my man, the rabbit. I got a lot of rabbits over here too. Yeah, they're in a union. I'm just work for me. You know. In fact, I gotta put in a new work order for them. I need them to do something for me. See if we can get the sun. The sun is trying to peek through. Sometimes the sunset be looking gorgeous. I don't even see what you guys see. All 0 1% of you. But yeah, no reason to drag it out. Um, man, I need to get my mind right. Big Red. That's Big Red right here. It's the old lady. I gotta get my mind right. So, what did I name this? The stream? I think it was called "If You'll Have Me, Gotta Keep the Faith." Essentially, that was about seeing the positive through all of the pain and the negative going on. I feel like I'm at a point where there's a lot of sacrificing. I'm in the middle of a bunch of sacrifices, and I gotta be there for myself, and I gotta keep the faith because I know that I'm doing the right things. They don't always show the way that they could show, but I think they're gonna show, and I gotta keep you gotta keep the faith, and I just wanted to bring that. Always trying to turn a negative into a positive. Uh, you know, I think I get into the I get into these setbacks. I think a setback is a good way to say it. I get into these setbacks when I don't get much time, doing the stuff that's, even though it's hard, it's therapeutic. And I don't know how to balance. I don't understand how to, work a full time job. I don't know where the limitation is with some of the projects that I put on my plate. And then judging oneself because you have so much that's hard, so much friction, and then you're also harshly judging yourself. So that's some of what the pain has been, and I'm starting to notice it. And I need a treatment for it. I don't know, maybe I just need to go cut some mint leaves and make some mint tea. Maybe I just need to throw up a fire and just get it all out. You know, like actually start a nice fire. But I could almost feel the cycling and the lack of like seeing things, you know, I don't want to say it's uncouth or unclean, but just seeing the things that I want to do be so overwhelming that I can't just push the easy button. Sometimes that is hard. And at the same time, if you're the only one who is invested in it, you're the only one that's going to be willing to make a different challenge is for me. Because then it's me failing and it's me failing alone. There's doesn't have to be an I in team. It's only I anyway. But that's all. Don't want to beat this one to death. Um, Thanks for hanging out. Like I said, if you see me, I think it's a pretty cool stream. I got to have some quality conversation. Met another aspiring coder. So hopefully I have much more. I got some work to go do. I want to go get in the shower and water these plants. And then I'm going to, let me see if I'm going to try this thing. I've been doing it. Watch this. So, so I was doing that the other night, and every time I did some weird, like freeze, people would jump. Like I would get people to come into the the stream. It was super weird. It was like, and the number would just jump 5, 10. It's like, the heck is that about? But anyway, no more algorithm tricks. Pretty tricked out right now. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Made it another day. I'm here with you. Peace.